I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Scott Raecker at the Race Center at Drake University, who is going to give us a bit of context on civility. Scott?
Thanks, Robert. And I would echo what Robert said. We're so thankful to have each and every one of you with us today. And our challenge, as we've been preparing for this, is to really hope to inspire each of you that as throughout the day you're looking at this and listening to this, that you'll be thinking about an actionable, what can I do better or differently in my leadership because of what I learned today? We believe we begin with the end in mind, and that's one of the last things we're going to ask you today. With the time you've invested with us today and the presenters and the programming, what's one thing you can take away to do better or differently in your leadership as it relates to civility? We again thank you for the opportunity to be with you as we move forward in this. I wanted to talk a little bit about the context of civility. Civility has so many different meanings to so many different people. And we wanted to really focus in on what's a little bit of the background and what are we talking about here. Again, I'm Scott Raecker, the Executive Director of the Robert D. and Billie Race Center at Drake University, as well as a co-executive director of the Center for Public Democracy here at Drake, where we're focused on participatory democracy and enhancing civility through character development and ethical leadership. But what are the challenges we face? The data is very clear. Several great organizations doing wonderful data collection. Weber Shandwick for several years, longitudinal data, indicates that we clearly believe and know that incivility in government is preventing action on important issues, and many people believe it's a major problem. This is not just new, however, though. There's a continued depth of what we see of this over many years spectrum as we look forward to how do we address these issues. The Pew Charitable Research in partisan look shows heightened levels going back from 16 to their release in 22 of their most recent data. Again, showing that the data is trending in the wrong direction. And in fact, one of the challenges of this data is that in the last cycle, it actually went into the personal effectiveness of people believing, not just people believing in a party, but that person themselves might be more closed-minded or dishonest. The American Bar Association's recent release of 85% of Americans believing that our society is less civil, and they drilled down for the why, and it's on social media and public officials that most people are saying that. I tend to believe that it's more the general populace and our reaction to that than public officials, as the public officials I know, and especially those at the municipal level, are striving to find ways to positively impact the communities that they're serving. One of the things that we want to make sure of right now, is that we hear this comment that it's never been worse than it is today. And that's just not true. We live in a country where a sitting vice president challenged a former cabinet member to a duel over a political argument and shot and killed him. Of course, that was Hamilton and Burr, and there's been a great Broadway show about that. And I have to believe at the time that that happened, that there were Americans saying, we are better than this. We've got to do something to stem this tide, just like we are and all of you today. At the same time, in 1856, South Carolina Representative Brooks was not pleased with the Senator Sumner's speech on anti-slavery, came to the United States Senate chamber with this cane that's in the Smithsonian and beat the senator almost to death. And at that time, both of those individuals were resoundingly reelected to their office as a consideration that they were heroes in their own district. And of course, this predated the Civil War, the height of incivility, of our inability to resolve a really challenging issue that had impacted our country and still has tenants within our country. My point is that at each of these points in our history, where we've seen these types of challenges, I know there have been Americans that have said we can be better than this. When I hear about municipal leaders that have left their positions because of death threats over issues that have come up into their community, when we see violence, which is the heightened level of civility, that has an impact on who we are and what we do. So what we know about incivility is this. It is increasing right now. The trending incivility is disrupting our governance, as each of you probably are aware. There's disruptions to our municipal meetings, is growing issue and concern. And when that happens, it inspires distrust of public institutions. And of course, the threats are real and they are happening, and we need to figure out a way to how do we work best around them. For us to frame the context of civility that we want to address today, of course, civility does include as a foundation respect, decorum in the public arena, kindness, etiquette, manners. All of those things are a base of civility. But what I want to express that we're trying to dive in with you is it's the depth of civility we really want to address. How can we disagree without being disagreeable? How can we have various opinions on municipal decisions, on community decisions, that yet when we come back at the end of the day, we're still all about our community, not letting those disagreements polarize us and still finding the unifying fact? What are the difficult conversations we need to have, and how can we have those to focus on understanding, if not resolution? And what is it we can do to create a culture where elected officials can govern, staff can implement, and citizens can be involved and heard in a participatory process without fear or threat to any stakeholders? That's the depth of what we're working at here at the Ray Center and the purpose of coming to you with this summit. We really like the Institute for Civility and Governance definition. I'm not going to read this to you, but it captures what I was trying to say there as well. It's about being present. It's about how we have disagreements, and those are part of society and our fabric of communitas. But how do we have those in a way that is about making sure that all stakeholders are heard and the governance process results in decisions that positively impact the lives of others and enrich and enable our communities, and allow for the opportunity that people will again look to the opportunity to serve in public office as an honorable and noble pursuit, the opportunity to continue to cultivate great community leadership. All of these are outcomes that we hope that each of you can take and continue to advance from what we hear today.